This podcast is a member of WildGamesProductions.com and D20Radio.com.
They came from the game table, dice bags in hand,
We have one brain that we share between us.
to talk about role-playing for all across the land.
And you'll like it.
The original and basic, then one they scoured.
Kinda grabs you by the boo-boo, don't it?
To bring AD&D to the second power.
You want me to put the hammer down?
Welcome to THACO's Hammer, the best scam AD&D second edition podcast ever.
Hi, folks. THACO's Hammer. We're back. Yes, sir. Number
57.
57. The year I was born. And I'm DM Glen, and this is DM Brian,
Good evening, folks. How's everything going out there?
the talkative one, and the not so talkative one, Corey. DM Corey, say hi.
What's up, folks out there? We're back to 2013, and I haven't had a hangover yet.
There's something wrong with you then.
Full on hit.
You sick?
No, I'm just busy at work.
Yeah, I hear you.
Full on had some army stuff or something he had to do, some military stuff, so he won't be with us today. But hey, we're golden. We're good.
We'll make the best of it.
It's just like episodes 1 through what, 20?
Yeah,
We're good.
25, 26.
Yeah,
I think.
25.
Yeah, until certain
We do miss you, full on. We miss you a lot, and we hope you hurry back to us.
Yeah. The faster you get back, the sooner Corey starts drinking. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's get on hits and crits.
What are you doing tonight? I don't know. What are you doing tonight? The burlesque Louis Paradise. Miserable and lonely and stupid. What am I, crazy or something? I got something good here. What am I hanging around with you guys for?
Hits and crits.
Hits and crits. Okay, we've got, what do we do? Oh, you got some stories, Corey.
I got stories. I got lots of stories. There once was a man from different stories.
No, not those kind of stories.
Okay. Are you talking about last night's D&D campaign?
Yes.
Oh, well, yep. I ran my only now surviving group through a large haunted village and town in my campaign world. If any of the listeners out there have played Half-Life 2, they know what Ravenhold is, Ravenholm. And if you haven't, maybe you've seen or played Silent Hill. It's essentially the town. I've made it after the town of Roanoke, which in our real world is a town that was formed that everybody just disappeared. No one knows what happened to them. But I sent my group with their 2 paladins, decided they were going in, and it was their personal quest to clean out this town and rid it of all the evil. I gave them about an hour's worth of role play before I had 2 of my veteran players shaken to the point where one of them needed to go outside and smoke a cigarette. It's what I like to call a little slice of Ravenloft in my own world here, and these guys now know what's going on, and I've got them to the point where I've shaken one of the paladins' faith, and
How do you shake a paladin's faith?
Very briskly.
When you have psionic creatures in the group, or I mean in the city, that they've decided that they're going to mess around with and poke around, and they're putting ideas in their heads and putting images in their heads. Couple failed saving throws, get the guy to role play a little bit, and you've got some people going,
shaken.
Maybe I'm not good enough to be in here. Maybe my faith isn't what it should be.
Shaken, not stirred, and you're ready to go.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, well, this should teach your players, even though I'm not sure about it, whether it will or not, but should teach your players to not be so gung-ho. Oh, let's go clear this place out. How hard could it be?
Yep.
Oh, my goodness.
Haven't they learned that by now with you?
No, not yet. And I'm a firm believer as DM, if anybody out there who hasn't known this, is in our world, there's a reason why you don't wear raw meat underwear and walk around the Serengeti of Africa. There are places on this world you will die.
Yep.
Just like in my D&D world, there are places where I don't care if you're 20th level, you are not meant to go.
Mm-hmm.
There are places that are there for the whole history and the ambiance and telling little children stories about the place so that they don't get out of bed at night. That's what some of these places are.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't walk, you don't walk into a halfling place with, cherry pie underwear. You don't walk into the woods, There's places you just don't go. So my party's going to soon learn that they're going to get far enough in to the point where they're going to have one or two choices. They're either going to be able to say, okay, I think we've done a good dent in the evil here. I'm missing an arm and he's missing a couple limbs. Let's get back into town and say we survived Ravenhold. Or they're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, to tell you the truth, I look for a fest hall if I'm looking for cherry pie underwear.
There you go.
Yeah, she's my cherry pie. Anyway,
what have you been doing, Brian?
I've still been doing my little conversion project, and there's a character I have who's like, I would say, my pride and joy. I've mentioned him before, dual class, 13th, 14th level fighter, martial art, and I had to try and remember the things I did with this character, because I made this character, it's going on 27 years ago, not 20, so 24 years ago, 24, 25. But, and I was just like, well, that's what he did in the game I was playing, and now I'm putting him in my Mystara campaign. What is he doing now? Well, it took me a while, but I figured it out, and he's been on the Isle of Dawn, which is sort of like a neutral zone between the empires of Diatis and Alphatia.
Okay.
And he's been living there. He made his stronghold. He's got his followers. And now there's a town building up around his stronghold. So that's pretty much what he's been doing. And my next project is his twin sister, and now I got to figure out what she's doing, but that's not difficult because she's just the prototypical world wanderer. She just goes places, does stuff.
Sounds good.
Here, so that's what I've been doing.
Cool. Well, I've been doing a few things. First of all, we were talking all about Heroes Lore Book and Hall of Heroes last week. I managed to find a copy of Heroes Lore Book.
Nice.
And, I'm not too much about, here's the stats for Elminster, here's the stats for Dres, but Full-On's right. The last 10 pages of that book are golden. With those magic items in there, hoo-hoo.
Yep. It's a gold mine.
Yep.
Oh,
gold
yeah.
Mine. Just the info on the Harpers and, those
Knights of Mithranor, yeah.
Yes, just that alone is worth the price alone.
Oh, yeah. And $4, nice. 4 times the price, actually.
Yeah, exactly. 5
times the price, yeah. Oh, and my D&D game, we set a land speed record. I talked about this in Saber Die a bit, but I remembered a few more things. We set a land speed record of character existence. 15 minutes. First one.
Was it our friend who decided to do unspeakable things with a bugbear corpse?
Yes.
Did you handle that situation?
This is how it got handled. He was supposed to be atoning and all that kind of crap. Well, before he even got a chance to, he got yellow molded to death.
Nice.
And it's like,
did you get to kill him once he came back as yellow mold creature?
No, we just burned him. And another, our thief in the party, she got res, but he didn't because he wanted to play a new character. And it's like, that's too bad. I was hoping you to tell him because, boy, are you in trouble once you get up there now.
Mm-hmm. Lucy, you got some splaining to do.
Yeah. He rolled up another character, and we're doing basic D&D, and my DM is adamant on 3d6 6 times right down the line.
Oh.
He rolled up not really hopeless character, but damn near.
Mostly single-digit scores.
3 intelligence. How does that sound?
Oh, geez.
Nice. You got a jelly brain.
Oh, boy.
He made him a fighter. He was a part of the guard in the town who decided to want to go and help kick out the whatever the hell they were fighting. And his name was Durr. So is his first name or last name? No, just Durr. And he said a lot. So we go down the dungeon. First thing that happens, he finds a ring. a orc body or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Well, the DM says it's a ring of animal control. Unfortunately, later on, he told us it was a ring of delusion.
Who'd he try to control?
Oh, a couple of orcs, a few giant spiders.
Neither of which are animals.
Yeah.
Nice.
But the DM says...
Well, his name is Dur. Come on now.
Yeah, he is playing a 3 intelligence.
Time he tried to swing swords. No, you are convinced you are going to control these animals. And so he says, dur, 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 dur. Dur, dur, dur. You know,
God.
He kept doing... Wow. It was funny because he's so stupid, it never occurred to us he had a cursed item. Because we figured, oh, he's just stupid.
Yeah. He's stupid. Now he's stupid and cursed.
Yeah, and we couldn't figure it out.
That's funny.
So what happened to him that it only lasted 15 minutes?
What happened was we took care of 4 giant spiders. Does this sound familiar?
Yeah. Well, at least your characters had levels to deal with it.
We killed them, but it's a wilderness adventure. And right afterwards, he goes wandering around and runs into 2 grizzly bears, one of which kills him.
Because he tried to control them. Oh, that's beautiful. You know,
it's like
your DM's having too much fun. His body count is pretty high at this point.
So next thing I know, he's hauling out the D6s and rolling them again.
I'm like, and this is my this is me because I'm so used to second edition now and people coming up with really cool concepts for characters and, at least try to give them a relatively fair shake. If I played a game like this where the body count was this high, I wouldn't play again. Oh. I get so frustrated.
But we can get a character in like 5 minutes.
Well, yeah, I know, but that's the thing.
And, I was outvoted, but I really wanted to name the adventuring party the Brotherhood of Dur. But nobody...
Should have. After that session, yeah, should have.
Yeah, but it's like that nobody touched the ring.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes you stupider than you already are.
Stupid character with a ring of delusion.
Wow.
Priceless.
Your DM is just having way too much fun.
Yeah. Oh, man. I was going around, dur, is a word, dur.
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
No, Glenn.
Bad form.
Very bad form.
Yes, and he, like I said, he didn't speak much, so dur. Come and kill some stuff, dur.
Wow.
Anyway, that's what I've been doing. How about we get some emails?
Yeah.
What about Brian? What's Brian been doing?
Brian already explained what he was doing.
Oh, see how much I pay attention?
Yeah.
I gotta drink more.
Your ADD is way out of control.
I am AD&D, yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's the reason why we're here, yes.
Keep it up.
But anyway.
Keep it up, son. We're going to be calling you Corey Dur.
Oh,
now see?
Do that. We would
first the t-shirts.
Yeah, stop the music. Yeah. Yes, folks, we do have t-shirts on Zazzle. With artwork by our own Glenn Hallstrom and Corey Gelnet.
That's right.
Yes.
So,
T-shirts can be reached through our Facebook page and also through osrgaming.org's podcast section for THACO's Hammer.
Exactly.
That'll work.
Yep.
Come on and support your boys.
Go buy them soap. Go buy them, guys. Soap. Go buy them soap.
Nope.
Yeah. And wash them while you're at it.
Anyway, so, all right, let me get set up here because we have another voicemail from our longtime contributor, DM Kojo, who we have to get him on the show eventually because he's like our de facto 5th host now.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, let me get this set up and I will play it for you.
Greetings, Hammer Wielders. This is DM Kojo. Question for you about starting a campaign. When you have your players making their characters for the beginning of a new campaign, what do you think about having them make more than one first-level character? Being that first-level characters are often prone to death in the game, is it a good use of time to have them make 2 or 3 characters maybe even, so that they've got a couple in reserve? Just a thought. So, like, you were just thinking on that. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, Kojo.
Thanks, Kojo.
Thank you, Kojo. Well, after what you just heard about my game, that might not be a bad idea.
You might want to make like 6 or 7.
Yeah. All of a sudden, we're playing Call of Cthulhu. Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting to that point. You know,
to me, that's part of
turnover. High character turnover is like, you know, if you know something, it all depends on how it happens, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, in my game, I have no problem with people rolling up backup characters if they're so inclined. The problem comes when they're so in love with the concept of their backup character that they want to kill off their main character in order to get to it.
I've seen that.
Yeah. I've had issues with that myself, and I don't have a problem with it, but you know, that's your backup character, and don't put more into it than your main character, because I might just keep your character alive just out of spite.
Right.
What about you, Core?
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I don't have a problem with people who can. I have people who can sit there and whip out a character and a character sheet, fully done, fully equipped, fully proficiency'd, out in literally like 10 minutes. Then I have other people who want to sit and read, research the book, grab a splat book or two, peruse the kits, and I'm like, dude, just make a character, let's get moving.
Yeah.
You know, and if they're going to take 45 minutes for the first character, I'm not going to let them make a secondary character.
I hear you.
My problem is kind of like Brian's, but different. My problem is when people get so used to being like, well, if this character dies, I have a second. Well, if that character dies, I have a third. There's nobody who puts enough effort into their characters to be like, okay, I really like this character. This character's got a cool background. He's got a cool quest idea. I like where this character is going roleplay-wise. It turns into that game, Smash TV. Good luck. You'll need it. It's literally like, you know, it's like you have a green room on the side of the D&D gaming room where it's like, okay, I need adventure number 17.
Central casting, yes.
Yeah, I don't like that, because I got guys that are like, okay, so you're a giant barbarian, 7-foot-tall Northman with an 8 dexterity. What are you doing? Well, I'm going to hop over the lava onto that little rock and jump from the little rock to grab the chain.
So you're saying...
Really?
Why are you going to do this? What?
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it's like, and the thief is looking at you like, are you retarded?
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't care, because if he dies, I'll just pull out Grim. Well, who's Grim? Oh, Grim's my new character that I was making while you were describing the last 3 rooms.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the problem I have.
So you're saying
these are 3 little icons that are down at the bottom of your computer screen when you're playing a video game being your lives. You know, you make a character, it's got to be a character.
So
I don't mind
saying they have to invest in it from the get?
Well,
the character they first create, yeah, I would appreciate it.
Well,
if that's
I'm playing devil's advocate here, but because then I turn around, then there's somebody like Crispy who says he doesn't even give his character personality until like the 3rd session.
I'm okay with that too. But what I'm saying is when people get the mentality of, well, I don't care about this character because I haven't put any effort into him, so I'm going to use him stupidly.
To get to the other guy.
I don't like that at my table, because then you have people who are sitting there trying to actually role play, and you have some idiot, well, we haven't kicked in the door in the last 10 minutes. I really want to go smoke a cigarette, so I'm going to walk over and kick in the door across the hall. Well, why? Yeah. The paladin is trying to heal somebody, and the thief has a broken arm. Well, I don't care. I'm just kicking in the door. Why? Because I don't care about the character. Well, then I'd like you to leave the table.
That's definitely a player issue at that point.
Yeah, that's a player issue, and I don't think I'd put up with that either.
No, I wouldn't either.
Unfortunately, you know, those kind of things, it could lend itself to that. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, the last time I had an issue with this was with my former roommate, who, you know, I've touted several times during the course of this podcast, but this is back in her Major League Dragon Ball Z addiction phase, and I say that lovingly because I was like right there with her. But she decided to make a Wemmick character. She had like a Henry Yokai martial artist who was like 8th level, started at like 3rd, got to 7th, got a manual of puissant skill at arms, and went to 8th level. You know, just in a flash. And then all of a sudden she's like, the adventure we're on is dangerous. If I make a second character? I'm like, yeah, sure, I don't mind. Then she started making this Wemmick warrior character, and she really fell in love with it, and now she's constantly bugging me to like either let the character come in or create secondary adventures just for that character. And I'm like, I'm focusing on what's going on here. I don't know if you've noticed, but there are 3 other people sitting at the table with you.
Yeah.
It's not a one-on-one deal anymore.
Yeah, you got to nip.
What do you think, Glenn?
I think you got to nip that kind of thing in the bud. I don't mind more than one character. So, I mean, I'm sitting here. I've got this little tiny accordion file of index cards with like tons of pre-gens for this game, all sorted by class. And I make these. I stick them in here. I forget about them. I need something. I look through them. Okay, I'll take that one. I can
pull it out and you're good to go.
Right, I can deal with that, and I can do that for second level too. But this kind of crap where you're like, okay, make 3 characters. Oh, I like number 3. I'm going to burn through 1 and 2. No, you're not. No, you pick the one you want to play, and that's the one you're going to play.
Yeah,
right.
You play it genuinely, and you're not constantly you're not looking to kill it off.
You play it like a boss, and you got to do that.
Like a boss.
Like a boss.
To answer DM Kojo for me, though, Kojo, the answer would be, my suggestion to you is to let them make 1 character, and literally the time when that first character dies, you're not just going to be able to snap your fingers and say, okay, there's another half-elven ranger who appears beside you, and he's ready to party. You don't go Green Ranger as I enter the game. You got to have some time to work the character into the game itself. So you might as well let the player use that time to roll up his character on the fly when he's died and he's pretty upset and he's pissed off and he's drinking his Jolt energy drink and he's smoking his cigarette because his character died. Let him have that time to roll up his new character, because if you there's pitfalls. There are pitfalls when you have somebody making multiple characters before the game even starts.
No, I agree. Yeah, that was another thing that I had a problem with. One of the, I think I told a story before where I was running a game and one of my players, his dwarf fighter character had his arm severed, got criticaled, and he got so pissed off that happened that he just had his character commit suicide. Then he rolled up another character who just didn't say much. Because now he's playing pissed off, and it's like, look, I even told him, I said it was legit. It's not like I'm out to kill anybody, but if the dice fall that way, they fall that way, So
yeah, I literally got rid of my DM screen last night playing the game because I literally rolled 20 times and 17 of them are 20s.
Wow.
Dude.
I could not stop rolling 20s. I even fudged some 20s down to like 17s and 16s, and they're like, no, if we get crits, we get crits. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, TPK.
I hate when they tell you can't do anything with the... Well, that's another story altogether. It's like, look, you don't tell me how to run anything stuff behind this screen. All right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, look, I'm trying to run a fair game here, and if I don't want you guys to die because the die rolls are just phenomenal, the dice gods are just smiling upon me tonight. If I don't want to kill you guys off, then you know what? Take that favor, say thank you, and be prepared for the next session.
Yeah, because I may be pissed off next time. And
I mean, in a bad mood.
Anyway, that's another argument for another.
Thanks for the email, or thanks for the voicemail.
Thanks, Coach. I mean, we could do a whole episode on just that.
You know what? We probably should.
Probably should.
Yes, we should.
You got another email there?
Yeah. Oh, hold on 1 second. I have to sneeze.
Bless you.
Should we let him do that?
Oh, that's a tease. I hate that. Oh, I absolutely hate that when you're supposed to sneeze and then your nose is like, no, false alarm. Carry on.
Look into a bright light.
Yeah. Actually, I did. That's the funny part. Okay.
Now, what
our next What's that?
What else we got, I say?
Okay, we have an email by James Cook, who is one of our fans on Facebook, and I found out who isn't a Rush fan.
James Cook.
Yeah, James Cook. No, not that James Cook. That's not.
Oh.
No, that's not. No, not that.
Did you say, Mr. Cook? Can we have a discussion real quick? But yeah, anyways, continue.
Yeah,
go ahead.
not that one. Okay, says, hey guys, I wonder what experience you guys have with either running or playing in online D&D games. Funny you should mention that. But anyway, Yeah, exactly. How do you feel that the second edition rules works out for play by post, play by email gaming? Do you think that the entire concept of play by email is good for the role-playing community? Ooh, that's a heavy question. He also says, full disclosure, I run a Pathfinder play-by-post game that's currently putting the PCs through the old glory hole dwarven mine by Judges Guild.
You're ruining that module. Don't do that. Use D&D. Don't use Pathfinder.
Yeah, Pathfinder, yeah, that's kind of hard.
Anyway.
But, yeah, okay. I've been running our current online sessions through Skype and using Roll20 as our virtual tabletop, and I think it's worked pretty well.
Now, Brian,
you're running a game online?
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Now, is he saying this or is he saying...
Yeah, I'm sure
when he said, when he said... Okay, I'm sorry. I thought he meant MMOs. Sorry.
Well, I was getting to that part, too.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've played in... Oh, God, I'm trying to remember how long ago it was. I think this is back before the internet exploded. We're talking late 80s, early 90s, maybe.
Evercrack.
Oh, before that, even.
That'd be 97, sir.
Yeah, EverQuest being late 90s. I played by post on a bulletin board, a BBS site, and it worked pretty well. I mean, my fiance at the time, she played in a MUD, and she loved that. But, I mean, it all comes down to the quality of players, just like playing face to face. It all depends on that. If there are just some people who want to kill things, it's, fine. But there are those who want to role play, rolling out of bed and getting dressed in the morning and all that kind of crap and nonsense. That's fine too. But, I mean, any way that you can get people together and play D&D and have a good time and, and have some, have a good adventure, have some laughs. Who cares what kind of medium you go through?
I'll have to go with you on that because I don't really care for MMOs. And I like play-by-post even less.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't want to have to post and then wait a turn. I want to roll dice and hit something.
Right. And that's why playing by Skype or Google Hangouts or whatever, that's one of the better things because, and you got to also think that we play, and I hate to say it as much as I hate to say it is true, we play an outdated version of D&D, and it's been outdated for 10 years, 13 years now,
at least.
Yeah, 13 years because it all stopped in 2000, but we play an outmoded version of D&D, and the majority of younger players, they're playing 3E, they're playing 3.5, they're playing Pathfinder, they're playing 4E. Yeah. And they'll be playing 5, too. But, we're the sticks in the mud. And that only means that we only have a limited number of people who are like, second edition D&D, oh, hells yeah, I'm in.
I like my stick in the mud. I get more enjoyment out of having my stick in the mud. And if you read anything into this, I'm going to stop talking.
Not do that on purpose.
Corey, you got the floor.
All right. Let me take that big, deep Ace Ventura breath before he tells the whole thing. I cut my teeth on the electronic age role-playing, and I'm going to bow my head in shame. But on AOL 2.0 in the Red Dragon Inn.
Oh, dude.
Tech role-playing.
Dude, I was there.
Then the original version, Neverwinter, through AOL.
Yes.
And then after that, I started back in the 90s. I think it was 97, betaing a small unknown game which was called Ultima Online. My first character's name was Jagrid. Mr. Salvatore, we need to talk about copyright. Anyway,
really?
Yeah. And anyway, yeah, I got my name changed on by EverQuest because I was using a copyrighted name because that's when the book came out, and I've been using it for the last 7 years through multiple MMOs. But we're not going to get into that. Mr. Salvatore already knows my intentions. Anyway,
did you send a C&D?
Yeah, I did. Essentially, I've ran a large roleplay guild on MMO on Quellia server, one of the largest roleplay guild on in EverQuest. Then I went to the online play-by-posting, and I'm currently ignoring 2 play-by-post campaigns through my world on Unseen Servant, Endeavor, and everybody else over there that I'm ignoring. I do apologize. I've just been really busy, and they drug me back into the podcast, and, well, it's kind of more important. So
just when you think you're out, they get back in.
Thank you.
And as far as the email question, yeah, there's different forms and different medias that you can play, and I have no problem with any of them. No matter what you're doing, you're still role-playing and throwing dice and determining decisions, whether you're at a table, whether you're at a virtual table, whether you're on your iPad or, whatever. You're playing D&D, and that's the point.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good in the neighborhood. That's how I feel about it.
But don't play D&D online. Your brain will hurt.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, I take that back. They've opened that thing up so that there's no level limits anymore, because I think they figured out they can't make money off it.
Yeah.
So they just made it an open game, but yeah.
I just found it confusing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's 4th edition rules. Don't feel bad.
What do you want? And that's emails?
That's all we got.
Cool. Emails, guys, at thacoshammer@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
You want his phone number?
Yeah.
405-806-0555.
You got it.
Said it any better myself.
And you can join the esteemed Hall of Fame company like DM Kojo and DM Kojo and DM Kojo. and DM Kojo, yeah.
Yeah. Are we slipping into Hunter S. Thompson?
Or DM Kojo, or DM Kojo.
Or you can call me Ray, you can call me Jay.
Let's get on with the show and go to Rule 0.
One would think you've been doing this all your life.
We'll remember you said that.
I know. I'm sure you hate me just enough.
Rule 0.
Rule 0. Oh, you guys are going to love this. Assigning difficulty modifiers for proficiency checks. The plus-minus thing.
Mm-hmm.
What's a half-quarter 8 score?
Oh, this is something I've been doing for years. This is just something when Corey asked...
Another Brian thing.
Yeah,
it's a house rule.
Yeah, another mad scientist house rule. But one of the things I used to do was Now, when I ran 2nd edition pretty much by the book before I altered the way I do NWP scores and stuff like that, it was basically taken straight off of someone's stat. And as we know, more often than not, PCs have above average stats.
Of course.
So, when you've got somebody who's, got like you got a cleric with an 18 wisdom and he takes land-based riding, he's gonna have a score check of like almost 20, So, what I did was, I just assigned a difficulty modifier to whatever they were trying. Right. And, just for argument's sake, let's see an armorer who comes up, who's trying for the first time to make a suit of armor out of like dragon scale or something like that. And he's doing it just off the top of his head. He's just going with the flow, so to speak. He doesn't have anyone instructing him. So I would say, okay, you're going to make a suit of armor out of this black dragon scale. Okay, give me proficiency check halved. And then they look at me and be like, why half? I said, because you don't know how to do this. You've heard maybe once or twice the guy you apprentice under maybe have said something, but he didn't show you how to do this. This is going to be hard. So, yeah, I want you to roll under half of your proficiency score. And so they do that. Now, yeah. Now, it all depended on how difficult I thought the certain task they were trying was. Like, I'd even go down to, like, quarters and eighths.
Wow.
I've done an eighth once or twice because, it's the 6 impossible things before breakfast kind of thing. And so I was like, okay, if that's what you want to try, okay, roll your proficiency score, take your proficiency score, divide it by 8, and roll under the result. Which usually meant like a 1, a 2, or a 3 in most cases.
What do you think, Corey?
I do sort of the same thing. Essentially what I do is, and I know it's in some of the later versions of how they do difficulty versions, but for me what I'll do for proficiencies is, okay, so you're a warrior and you're trying to read magic. or even better. Okay, so you're a wizard and you're trying to blacksmith a helmet. Okay, exactly. So what's your armor smithing? Oh, you don't have any. Okay, so we take the base of an unknown proficiency, and what's your wisdom bonus? Okay, so that would be wisdom minus, or, intelligence or strength, whatever it is. I'd be like, okay, well, you're going to get a +5 to your die roll, and you still need to roll under this number. So I'll add a bonus to their die roll, which will make it the window that they have smaller to roll. That's how I usually roll.
See, this kind of thing to me is a no-brainer, because it's like, that's the DM's job. You know, you don't have to give a straight. It's like playing other games like Savage Worlds and stuff, where you have everything is a skill test, and you or even 3.5, where you establish the target number. Yeah, and you play with it, plus or minus whatever. You do that all the time. Now how it's received is another story.
Well, of course, because there are some who be like, "But dude, I know, but I have an armor school of this. I'm actually better than the guy who trained me." It's like, dude, unless you and you never said anything about this, you never told me that your master had experience with different kinds of materials for armor. All it was leather, and not even leather. All it was steel. Yeah, so, if you're going to mess around with dragon scale, which is a completely different material than steel, then, you're going to take a hefty penalty to your check.
Yet there's gamers out there who will expect every single proficiency to be rolled as per whatever he's got there.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Hey, what were you saying, Corey?
No, I was saying, I've had characters who come from a desert type area, little Aladdin, a little,
Arabian Nights.
And they see a guy in full armor, and they're like, I happen to be an armor smith in my town. I have blacksmith skills. So I was like, okay. And they're like, well, we're down in the dwarven mines, and we just found a large chunk of mithril. Okay, well, I want to make some mithril armor out of it. Okay, well, you're a blacksmith, you have skill. First thing I'll ask is what's your proficiency and what bonus you have. They'll say, well, I have an armor smithing and I have a 3 bonus on it. Okay, so you have 3 points, 3 proficiency slots in proficiency. I know this is going to be at least an 8 penalty, so I'll take those 3 away and say, add 5 to your die roll.
Wow.
Yeah. I make sure that even if they don't have the proficiency, I still want to know what the stat is so you can gauge the difficulty. In my opinion, I think, having proficiencies like build fire.
Oh, God. Here we go again.
No, don't even go there.
I'm not going to get into that. But, for difficulties, I have no problem adding bonuses or giving negatives. If they're like, well, okay, so you just got finished working on 17 suits of adamantine armor for the Elven King, and a human guy walks over and he goes, hey, can you knock the dents out of my chest piece? I'm like, okay, this is going to be cake. Not even
a proficiency check.
Right, exactly. There's some things where you get so much bonuses that you don't even need to put die roll bonuses or negatives. Mm-hmm. And like I say, I prefer my tables to be heavy on the ROLE play instead of the ROLL play.
Correct.
And if you start taking too many checks at the table, you got die roll, and then it just gets monotonous.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the other thing is if every once in a while a character will try it, like if he has the weaponsmithing or an armorer proficiency, he'll try to make his masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like what Brunor did, making that hammer for Wolfgar.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, okay, let's see. You're going to go out and get the highest quality materials, and you're going to consult with an ancient armorsmith or weaponsmith over in this country, way over on the other side of the continent, and you're taking the time out to learn how to do this right. Okay, I'll give you your normal check, and it's one of those things where it's like, if the player takes the time to set up what he's trying to do instead of just trying to do it, I'll give him the straight check. But if he's going to try and just wing it and try to, just, fake his way through it, I'll be like, no, you're going to take the penalty.
Yeah, no matter how high the proficiency is. Mm-hmm. I mean, you may have a +5 for blacksmith, but that doesn't make you a marina,
Yeah.
Finish, folks, look it up. Anyway,
yeah.
So either he's going to get the +5, and that's under ideal circumstances too. He may get more than +5 if he's in like a first-rate armorer's in a town, and the guy's helping him out and everything like that. He'll get more than 5. But at the same time, if he's in the 5th level of the dungeon and his helm breaks, and he's got a couple of big rocks around here, he's got some of his armor tools, but not all of them. They still have to make a fire and blah 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 blah. You're going to get minuses. You are getting minuses.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Severe penalties for sure.
Yeah.
It all depends on the situation and the player. The player at least making the effort to be creative in describing what he's trying to do, rather than just saying, "I'll make an armory check,"
Right.
or something like that. Because I'm like, no, it doesn't work like that. This isn't 3-5.
Right.
You just don't make your die rolls and, just go with it. No, you have to give me some effort here. You have to show me what you're trying to do.
Yeah, even with magic, I would,
Especially with magic.
Yeah, if you're making, especially if you're like making an enchanted sword or something, especially with that. I mean, not only do you get minuses or pluses, the mage who's helping you does.
Yep.
That's all managed into that.
Yep.
Anyway, folks, tell us about it. THACOshammer@gmail.com. This is going to be a doozy, I can tell. Anyway, let us go on to Magic Fingers.
Eeny, meeny, chili beanie, the spirits are about to speak.
Well, it just so happens that your friend here is only mostly dead.
Sounds like a lot of supernatural baloney to me.
Supernatural, perhaps. Baloney, perhaps not.
Magic Fingers.
Magic Fingers, okay, the Cojones school.
Conjuration.
The conjugation verb school.
That's right. I gotta put my glasses on. Actually,
I won't go through the previous conjugation that I did off mic, but
no, we don't want to know about it.
Actually,
you know what? You can tell us about that after the show.
I like the Cojones school. Actually, I was takes a lot of guts to go down there.
I don't want to know what your fireball looks like. Anyway.
Oh, one of them's crystal.
The other's hairy.
Hey.
Gentlemen.
I don't want to give you a wand of chromatic orbs now.
No, absolutely not. Not after that.
The mage known as Testes. He's a mage.
Oh, God.
They're all hairy. Anyway,
can we start over?
Not on your life. Now, let's go on from here. In the Complete Wizard's Handbook, this is the description of the Conjugation Summoning School. It includes 2 different types of magic, though both involve bringing in matter from another place. This is key. Conjugation spells produce various forms of non-living material. Summoning spells entice or compel creatures to come to the caster, as well as allowing the caster to channel forces from other planes. Since the casting technique is and ability requirements are the same for both types of magic, conjugation and summoning are considered 2 parts of the same school. Its specialist name is a conjurer.
Yep.
You have to be human to be a conjurer.
Or half-elf.
Yep.
True. Humans and half-elves, but whole elves cannot. You have to have exceptional stamina, so your constitution has to be at least 15.
Mm-hmm.
And the opposition school?
Is
divination and invocation.
Evocation.
No fireballs for you.
No scrying for you. Sorry.
No identify for you.
Yep. That's the problem.
There are saving throw modifiers on this.
Yep.
Opponents modify their saving rolls by -1 when attempting to save against a conjugation or summoning spell, and you get a
conjuration. I'm sorry. I had to correct you. You did it 4 times.
Wow.
A conjurer also has a +1 bonus when saving against these types of spells as attacks. damage. And you can memorize an extra spell at each level, providing it's from the school.
Correct.
And when he comes to the 17th level, he no longer requires any material opponents to cast any of these spells in this school. Yep. And my God, when a caster reaches 20th level, he gains the ability to instantly dispel creatures conjured by an opponent who has used monster summoning or the equivalent. He can dispel, get this, up to 10 hit dice worth of creatures with this ability.
Yep.
Wow.
See,
I summon a golem. That's adorable. Get out.
You're done. Get out of here. And he just turns into a pile of whatever he is. Yeah.
This is one of the most, aside from things like evocation, like you don't get the fireballs, but other than that, this is like the second most potent school.
Yep. Actually, I'll argue with that, but actually, no, I won't. Conjuration, this is one of those where, the player usually tries to, get outside help. I can see a conjurer always trying to, always casting monster summoning spells. That's their fireball spell.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And God help you if they actually make it high enough to start conjuring elementals.
Oh boy.
I remember in my old D&D game days back in like 1981 when it was me, my best friend, and a couple other people. We were playing D&D, and we were going in high, like 7th, 8th, 9th level adventures, and my best friend was always casting Conjure Elemental to help fight for us. I mean, always.
And if you folks have a difficult time figuring out we told you right now, but in game figuring out what it's like, think of Magic the Gathering. A lot of those cards are conjuration spells.
Well, actually, their main spell to summon creatures is actually called Summon Spell. So
exactly.
Summoning Conjuration, yeah, they're
all conjurers in that. That was for Brian.
I'm the mighty verb, the conjurer.
Yeah, but God only knows. I bet somebody actually thought of that. The class, not the class, but the school itself is not lacking for spells that actually cause damage to opponents. Uh-huh. They have spells like Melf's Acid Arrow.
Right.
They have spells like Summon Swarm, Flame Arrow. Flame Arrow is actually a pretty powerful
what makes it more versatile if you're summoning matter from another dimension.
Agreed.
That's what makes it versatile.
And it has spells for utility like Mount, stuff to protect you like armor. I mean, one of their spells that, every mage character always wants, Find Familiar. Yeah. That's a conjuration spell.
Now,
yes.
Saying that, I'll bet a conjurer could simulate something like a fireball.
Yeah, it's called Summon Fire Elemental.
There you go.
Yeah, Conjure Elemental 5th level spell.
You could
or even
something from the elemental plane of fire, like some fire.
Yeah, Flame Arrow. That's like the first.
There you go.
That's the first one that they get that's based for fire. I mean, but they have a utilitarian spell list. It's not all damage causing. It's not all protective. It's not all altering things. It has a little bit of everything.
They're a good MacGyver for the group. Magic MacGyver.
I mean, the only one that's better than that is the oh goodness, what are they called? I forget what they're called. Give me one moment while I look it up. They are the alteration school, which we will talk about in another episode. They're the ones who have, out of all the specialist mages, they have the greatest utility because they have pretty much everything.
Yeah, because in my opinion, and I hate to use another MMO analogy, but it's every time I see a player play a conjurer, it's a pet class.
Yeah, pretty much.
It is.
I mean, from level 1 when they get Find Familiar, and also, going up into the Spells and Dragon magazine, which is like Find Companion, which is a 3rd level spell, and then Find Minion, which is 6th level. Then you start getting into the higher level monsters. They always have familiars with them. Always.
Right. So you get much use out of this in your games, Corey?
Conjurers, it's funny that you picked it because one of my players in the scary town of Ravenhold in my campaign that was just played last night, he's actually playing the opposite. He's playing an abjurer. I'm sorry.
Invoker? Invoker?
Invoker, yes.
Oh, why am I not surprised by that? No. Yeah, he's an invoker. My apologies. Mm-hmm. But essentially, I had him run up against two conjurers that were on their way to another town to a wizard's fair. Uh-huh.
And he literally almost got into a fist fight with both of them alone. He's like, "Come on, throw your staffs down. Let's do this." And they're like, "What?" Like, he does not like conjure at all. And like,
why?
Because it's opposition school. He calls it weak, and he literally will sit there and call them cowards because they need to use monsters or beasts to fight for them. Fireball. But yeah, I have never had a conjurer in my game as far as, me playing one or having somebody play one for long, because after you have the beast, then I'm like, well, you're keeping track of your summoned creatures. That's right. Write down the stats. Oh, man, I got to do all this extra work? Forget this. I'm playing something else.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need stats to remember when you're casting fireballs. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, you could also be a conjurer who sticks to stuff like Melf's Acid Arrow.
Yeah. You do have your damage-causing spells. They just don't have a lot.
I don't think they have any protection spells, do they?
They have armor.
They got armor?
Yeah, they got the armor spell. They got the armor spell.
Stone skin?
Let me look.
I think that's alteration.
Yeah, it is actually. Right. Yeah,
but armor.
Yeah, they have the armor spell. They have I'm going down the list as we speak, which is kind of funny because they don't have like the other armor spells like not improved armor. I forget what the name is. Oh my god. But they got like stuff to. They have. I can't even. Now I'm losing my ability to talk.
They have one of my favorite spells.
It was that tongue spell I whipped on you.
Yeah.
They do get one of my favorite spells in D&D, which is Everard's Black Tentacles.
Oh yeah.
They do get that.
Yeah, that's a good spell.
All of a sudden you're a displacer beast.
No, you just make a big pile of writhing tentacles anywhere you want, and they literally grasp and hold on to anything that they get a hold of and do damage until you break them.
Wow.
Right. That's one. Yeah, and they actually inflict damage on you as they root up out of the ground and grab.
We might have to talk about that spell in the next Magic Fingers.
Done. Done and done. I will put it in right now.
Everard's Black.
They get things like grease and choke.
Yeah.
And
they get glitter dust.
And in my campaigns, grease is flammable.
Yes, it should be.
Yep.
They get flame arrow. Oh, they get flame arrow at third.
Yes, third level. That's their. Aside from monster summoning one, that's their fireball spell.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. I could be wrong, but that's just how I see it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I'm putting the spell in right now. Everard's Black Tentacles. So yeah, I mean, the thing is that a lot of players who end up playing specialist mages, they play them because they're kind of tired of playing the run-of-the-mill mage, and they kind of don't get into the right mindset because you have to remember when you are a specialist, that means that a certain aspect of the magical schools are taken away from you. Mm-hmm. And not only that, but also all of the other schools that you can learn from, you have a reduced chance of being able to learn spells from those schools. And they forget about that too. So, it's all something that, you have to remember you're not as powerful as a regular mage, and you have to play yourself, almost like the mage that hides behind the fighter in the plate mail. Yeah. Because, you just don't have the utility as a regular mage would.
Not right off the bat, anyway.
Exactly.
Right. That's why I turned to necromancy at one point.
Yeah, but you had an interesting take on that.
Yeah, well, it was a challenge to find out what necromancy spells I could use and turn it into something good, as opposed to something evil. I mean, to me, okay, this sounds pretentious, but to me, I believe in the art begins with the taking away.
Yeah.
Give me the conjurer. See what I can do with it.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that sounds like a good idea, and you come up with interesting concepts for characters anyway, Glenn. So
some of the people don't want to hear about again. But anyway, yeah, so it's okay. The conjuration,
summoning.
You got the cojones for conjuration? Tell us about it.
Yeah,
Postcapper at gmail.com or the phone number or whatever.
405-806-555.
Thank you, sir. How about Loaded for Bear?
Bet you don't have a pair of these, Earthling.
And for the big critters, sometimes you got to bring out the nuclear weaponry.
Loaded for Bear.
Loaded for Bear. Plate armors. Everybody likes a good set of plate, right?
Did you say a bear with plate armor? That'd be awesome.
That's something I wouldn't want to run into.
No.
Bear cavalry. Oh my God, what an idea!
No, I want to I throw at him a bear holding a shark, but.
Oh, you are just unbelievable.
No, we're talking about the plate mail, bronze plate, field plate, full plate, plate in your head,
plate.
Tin cans,
plate in your head. I don't care. Plate on your head, actually. We're talking from the one guy with a plate chest piece to like full knight suit of armor.
Yep. And that's in the arms and equipment guide. That's where I'm coming from because that has the best description of said armors. And it starts with bronze plate mail. That's the one that kind of historically that's the first one that started. And bronze plate, that's a good one. Bronze plate mail only gives you a base armor class of 4, because bronze is not as hard of a metal as steel.
A softer metal.
And also the way it's constructed, it's instead of it being over chainmail, it was basically put over brigandine armor. So
it says here, bronze plate mail offers better protection than normal brigandine or chain, and a lower price tag than standard plate mail. Since bronze plate is usually backed with stiff layered armor rather than loose chainmail, bronze plate mail isn't as flexible as banded, splint, or plate.
Correct.
Right. And see, plate mail is where the player starts thinking about the trade-off. That's where he really starts thinking about the trade-off.
Yeah.
Because, I got my chainmail shirt, love my chainmail shirt, and I get up to like banded mail and scale mail. Once I get to play it, it's like, how much can I get away with without screwing myself over?
Yeah, I see so many of them using splint mail as the point of no return. It's like, if I'm going to take splint mail, then I might as well work towards getting plate later on in the adventure.
Yeah.
And
usually that's the first adventure,
Yeah.
The first, after you go through Keep on the Borderlands or whatever first adventure you go through, the fighter's like, okay, I need to go find myself a suit of plate mail. Because now he can afford it.
And 9 times out of 10 with the characters, at least for me, it's not a full suit of plate mail.
No. It's not.
My elf is wearing a plate chest piece.
Over chain,
I don't want to put anything heavier on him. I don't want him to sink like a rock in water. I don't want him to be overly burdened trying to move. Like I said, when they think plate is just, okay, can I just get the chest plate? That won't be, and maybe the greaves, and that kind of.
It's like, just take the plunge, so to speak. That's exactly what goes through most players' minds because they seem to think that their DM is going to throw them in deep water at some point,
or they're going to.
And more than often I will.
Of course you would.
Aside from that, there's also other downsides like your movement rate and your weight carrying and all this stuff that you don't think about until the DM decides to think about it.
Well, that's the thing. That's one of the major differences between first and second edition is that they took away the movement rate penalties for wearing armor. You know, the arm. See, comes back to the previous discussion. Maybe we should have talked about it. Is that, you know, when you're determining encumbrance, that's the only effect that it has on your movement rate. Right. You can wear a set of full plate armor with a strength of 12. I mean, you're not going, you know, and you may only be moved down to like a movement rate of 9, maybe 6. But it all depends on your character's strength. That's what they tied it into. Instead of in first edition, it was like, oh, you just get, for a high strength, you just get this many coins additional in encumbrance, but as soon as you put on that suit of plate mail, you're automatically reduced to a movement rate of 6.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where, you know, plate mail it's always been, I mean, now going back to D&D, you know, they decided, you know, going back to the original D&D, that was always, if the fighter rolled good enough for starting money, that's like one of the first things he got, a suit of plate mail.
Oh wait, I thought that was called, the original D&D, wasn't that called chainmail? Oh, I'm sorry. Bad joke.
No.
I'm sorry, continue.
You went back too far.
I did.
Yeah, you went back too far in the Wayback Machine stuff. But yeah, I mean, now going into just regular plate mail, that's the classic combination of metal plates over the vital areas, which go over chainmail. And, you know...
AC3, ladies and gentlemen.
Base armor class of 3.
You know what drove the point home with plate mail for me?
What's that?
Is sleeping at night, you're not on watch, you guys get attacked. How long is it going to take to put on the plate mail?
Fighting your skivvies, dude. Because unless you have a suit of armor that is specifically enchanted to allow you to sleep in it, you take it off at the end of the night. That armor class of 10.
Being a Scadian, a past Scadian, I can tell you about 10 minutes. with help, about 10 minutes.
Exactly. You know, when you start seeing the old, like, movies, the costume movies, when it was Days of Old, Nights of Old, the knight up in the air on a rope trying to get lowered onto the horse. And I think of that, I go, I don't want that.
Why do you think some players walked around with a block and tackle?
Yep.
True.
That's exactly why.
That's true. Now that may scare off most players, but you know what you do to entice them?
What's that?
Look, you found a set of plate. Oh, I don't want plate. But you found out it's +1 plate.
Yeah, exactly.
+2 plate.
Yeah, and magical armor. Yeah, exactly. Magical armor, by definition, is lighter than just your regular suit of plate mail.
And if you really want to bastard DM, say, no, it's not magical, it's just really well made, but it still weighs the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the first things the Paladins of my group were looking for, and they kept hinting and putting extra candy and snacks in front of my DMs.
Outright bribery. I love it.
Plate mail of comfort.
Yes.
And sleep in it as if it was sweatpant material.
Exactly.
It was made by Sleep Number.
Yeah.
it was by 5.
It was by the magical blacksmith by the name of Serta.
Yeah. You got this little magical remote that you pressed and hit the number.
Oh, that's great. That is just great. I love it.
The other versions of plate mail, we're gonna do the AC2 and the AC1.
Yeah, that's where I was going. Field plate. Yeah, they say here that
this is the real heavy duty stuff, right? The field.
Yeah, going into field and full plate. Now, these came into play in 1985 when Unearthed Arcana came out.
Okay.
Yeah, because up until that point in first edition, the best armor you could have was plate mail.
Right.
You were looking for +2, +3 suits of plate mail armor because, you know, that meant that you could, you know, run around almost normally and still have an armor class below 0. Field plate is the more common version of full plate armor. That's what they say. It's not, you know, they say it consists of shaped and fitted metal plates riveted and interlocked to cover the entire body.
Uh-huh.
You know, and they say you have to have a thick layer of padding under the armor because
you'll chafe.
Those metal plates will cut into your skin,
and that is called a gambus.
And they're cold.
Yes, they are.
They are.
You get that cold metal around your conjurations down there, and boy,
And let me tell you about the conjugations I'll be shouting when I put it on.
Oh my, exactly. I'm telling you. So, it's less expensive than full plate armor. It's the good compromise between plate mail and full plate, because full plate, as we get down to that, is base armor class 1. Full plate armor, for the most part, is custom made. It is custom made to the person. Now, see, this is where it gets a little weird for me when you find a suit of full plate armor in a treasure hoard, because now I'm like, let's see, how tall is your fighter?
Yep.
Okay, maybe, perhaps.
But if
how much is your?
Well, I do a hand wave on that if it's magical.
Yeah, if it's enchanted, sure. If it's a regular suit, you might as well just sell it. Yeah.
Hey, look, the dwarf got a set of full plate for a human. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can always do, it's a little too tall for you with a dice roll. So that AC2 field plate, it's AC3 because it just doesn't fit right.
Yeah, it just doesn't fit right. And unless you get like a master armorer to alter it, to fit you, you're going to have that penalty. But
they'll take it in a little. Yeah.
Full plate armor is what you see with the knights. It's head to toe in metal armor. You see them not being able to move around quite so well, like if they were in plate.
Exactly.
Because the movement is a little bit restricted, but and you also need someone else to assist you in putting it on. They even have a little rule set for it. Without a capable attendant, it'll take you 1 to 10 plus 10 rounds to put your armor on.
I want to
cut that in half.
What, Corey?
No, I'm agreeing. Yeah, that's how long it should take.
Yeah.
I want to find an enchanted plate, just chest piece and maybe greaves that are magnetized. So you swing it, they only hit there. Hey, the Orcs is like, hey, how come I keep hitting on his chest? I keep aiming for his down below, but it just keeps going in his chest.
There was one of my favorite books is if everybody remembers them, they're called Grimtooth's Traps.
Oh no!
One of my favorite traps was a giant beehive. That literally wasn't a beehive. It was a giant pile of lodestones that would immediately fly to all the plate mail wearing adventurers, and they would jam up the joints. They would have to take their armor off and forcibly remove it. Well, after all the lodestones left the table, a sliding door opened, and toothless trolls and elderly orcs came out with butcher knives because they couldn't chase down creatures in armor and fight them, so they waited till they got the armor off. Plate mail, metallic magnetized plate mail, not a good idea.
Wow. That is unbelievable. But yeah, I read those Grimtooth's Traps, and I'm just like, oh my god, these are evil.
Yeah. And Julie designed one.
Really?
Yeah, she did. One of the books.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I rest my case. The defense rests, Your Honor.
I turned to her and I go, I'm glad you're not playing role-playing games anymore. I wouldn't come near your table.
Yeah, I can kind of understand why, for sure. But yeah, I mean, full plate armor. This is one of those things that maybe you're paladin, most likely a paladin. But if you have a cavalier, this is what they want. They will take a suit of full plate non-magical armor over a suit of plate mail +3. Because it's just that's what they want. They want the best armor, period. And never mind they can move around better in the plate mail. Never mind that it just may suit them better from a couple of standpoints. They'll take the full plate.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. I understand that, folks. Tell us what you think about plate. Not plates, plate.
Plate armors.
Plate armors. THACOshammer@gmail.com. You know the drill. Are you guys ready for DM's Reg?
All set.
Well, that's quite a story.
I think it would be fun to run a newspaper.
And here it comes, right over the old plate.
The DM's Reg. DM's Reg. Hey, guess what? We're going to do a module. When was the last time we did one of those? More like an adventure.
Let's see. I can give you an answer to that real quick. We did one going back to...
Hey, 3PO, never tell us the odds.
Never tell us the odds, yeah. Last one we did was Kingdom of the Ghouls, believe it or not. Oh, sorry, no, Mud Sorcerer's Tomb.
That's right, Mud Sorcerer's Tomb. That was a while ago. Well,
yeah, that was 46.
This adventure comes from Dungeon Magazine number 53. It's called Steelheart. It is for, 6 to 8 level?
6 to 8 characters, levels 7 to 9, I believe.
So it's
getting back to the top.
40 levels total.
Yeah, and it takes place in the realms.
Yes.
North of the Moon Sea.
Yes. Far,
Vasa.
Yeah, up that area. And we're dealing with our favorite bad guys, the Zentarum and the Cult of the Dragon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Those what's that?
They butt heads.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. You find out through...
Before you get into this, who wrote this?
Paul Collada wrote this, I believe.
Paul who?
Paul Collada.
Paul Collada, okay.
Collada. That's a guy who actually went on to write several, I believe, Forgotten Realms supplements in future years, because I believe this issue is like in the middle 90s, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he did such a good job in some of these things, he actually got hired on by TSR.
Okay, what's the breakdown on this? Gets a little involved.
Corey, you want to do this, or shall I?
I like it when you give me, because I just like giving comments, and we know which subject I'll tackle when it comes down to the review time.
Me and Brian are usually the guy. Well, this is what's going on.
Yeah, we'll do the heavy lifting. No big deal. Steelheart basically revolves around a recently orphaned steel dragon, believe it or not.
Uh-huh.
And basically what happened was that they were a family who lived amongst humans, and of course, no one knew who they were. And they
family of 3.
Yeah, family of 3. Yeah, mother, father, and their young daughter. Yes, and they found out that the Zentarum and the Cult of the Dragon were poking around in their area, and they went to investigate, and they found out that the Cult of the Dragon were actually assembling dragons and
cultists.
Yeah, cultists. Yeah, and they just came in and they shape changed to red dragons to find out what was going on. So they found out some information and they left to promise to return in a week. And what ended up happening was the cult found out that they were steel dragons instead of red dragons. They summoned agents and they started making inquiries. They found out that a certain family left town in a hurry, and they started chasing after them. And sure enough, they found them and they killed the parents.
And so the daughter, in her human guise, goes looking for adventurers to help. Well, first off, to avenge her parents,
even though she doesn't tell them that. But
right.
Yes.
But there's a more urgent situation, too, because this takes place post Time of Troubles.
Yep.
Zentarum is following Cyric, and Zental Keep has been demolished.
It has been destroyed, yes.
So they're looking for a new base.
Yep.
And they decide to see if they can work out an accord with the Cult of the Dragon, where they were excuse me, they were looking at Thar.
Yep.
So they said, the Zentarum on one side, Cult of the Dragon on the other, we converge on Thar, just squeeze it like a pimple. And
pretty much.
It over. Yep. So they're in negotiation for that now.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bigger issue.
Yeah. And you don't find that out. It just starts off with a search and rescue mission because the young steel dragon in human form, who looks like, a 13 or 14-year-old girl, tells the party,
12. It says 12.
Oh, 12. Okay. Yeah, 12 o'clock. Yeah, 12 o'clock, my goodness. She tells the party that, she believes that her parents were captured and she would like the party to help her get them back.
Right.
And that's a straight up lie. Because her parents got killed. Yeah, they're dead.
And she wants some.
Yes. She wants revenge.
She wants some revenge.
Yes. Shall we not revenge? Wrongest and shall we not revenge? If of course the party, being the mostly good aligned, adventurous, okay, let's help this girl out and get her parents back. Not thinking for 1 minute that it's not quite as it seems. Of course they'll help. Of course. So they start going into Vasa from Thar.
Right.
And, they go in and they just start, encountering ogres
and trolls.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Got one dragon in the area in the town there who's recuperating from that fight.
Correct.
You got hatchlings who are sitting around playing with the statue's head and playing ball with it. What is it? What did we say? It was not Tyr, but
Statue of Tempest.
Tempest. They broke off the head and they're playing ball with it.
Not to mention dead white dragons and
red dragons and black dragons and
oh my. But but one of the first things the party runs into is a rather well prepared orc ambush.
Right.
And sure enough,
which if they're on their toes, they can either avoid or stop.
They can actually get into the ambush and still fight it, but you're going up against a lot of orcs who most of them are well covered and are shooting at the party with bows. And then on top of that, you got their leader, and then you got another orc mounted. Yeah, a shaman. Yep, a shaman, and then a fighter mounted on a young black dragon.
Uh-huh.
So this is something that just in the situation the party's in, they could be in some trouble there.
Some deep doo-doo. I mean, there's ways out once you get into the camp. They capture you and everything.
Right.
But that's later on in the module. They don't tell you about that, which is good.
Yeah, exactly.
But after they take care of that, Hash, then they understand. She found out what happened to her parents, da-da-da. She took care of this dragon, da-da-da-da. But the other two dragons who were in the fight are at this conference by the Moon Sea that the Zentarum and the Cult of the Dragon. Zentarum has a ship out on shore, brought the negotiators in, Cult of the Dragon's there. There's a couple of dragons, those two dragons we mentioned, and they're all looking going, I don't think we should wade into this.
Yeah.
And this is where it gets interesting.
Yeah, because at that point, our little girl sees the dragons that killed her parents.
Right.
And she wants to just go after them. And there's a lot there. I mean, now to the author's credit, he just didn't make this an adventure where the party is almost obligated to just draw down and jump in.
Yeah.
To just jump them, because there's a lot here.
And what they did, there's circumstances out there that if they did that, it would not alter the events they were going to do.
Correct.
Because it would make the two parties more united to do this.
Correct. Yes, that's the thing. And
so you remember in The Hobbit, remember the trolls and Bilbo and Gandalf throwing his voice. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of thing you have to do here.
Yeah, you have to do some.
I mean, you don't have to do just that. There are other things. He suggests all these other things. My favorite was sneaking on the boat offshore invisibly and firing the ballista.
Yes. See, that's the thing. This is one of those things where the brute force and force of arms is going to end up getting everyone killed.
You got to start thinking. You got to start thinking like the man with no name and a fistful of dollars.
Correct.
Pitting them against each other.
Yes, because there is just too much here. There are 4 dragons and a bunch of priests, a bunch of soldiers, a ship full of other soldiers. You're not going to be able to
other monsters like boring beetles. You got the Wraith, Grognar. There's a lot in this thing going on.
Oh, and my favorite way to screw up this little tete-a-tete they have here with the two groups, is if you have the right spells, convincing those 2 dragons that Tiamat is talking to them, saying, they're going to screw you over. They're going to screw you. They're polluted. You must follow the Zentarum. Yeah.
That's the thing. That's
Tiamat in front of them.
Yeah, and that's the best part about it is that the party here, if they do it right, they can completely screw up relations between the cult of the dragon and the Zentarum for a long ass time.
Oh,
and that could actually bring some stability to at least that area in the realms. Yeah. If not over the entire realms once word got out. But I love the fact that the author took the time to say, the PCs could do this. The PCs could do that. The PCs could, try doing it this way or that way. I wish more adventure writers actually thought about, what? Let's give a couple of ideas to.
You might not have succeed. Yeah, you might not have a particularly creative group, and giving these ideas, could definitely help, people who just maybe are used to playing the Munchkin card game, kick in door, kill monster, steal treasure, go to next door. Exactly. I mean, these are some good ideas that can expand the role play aspect of the adventure.
Okay, Corey, what's your take on this adventure? What do you think?
You want my 1 through 4 that we usually do?
If you like.
Well, let me first say the art confuses me. There are some beautiful, beautiful pieces of artwork in here from the author or not the author, but the actual artist. I'm pulling up his name. I can't remember offhand. There it is. David Koharian. Mm-hmm. Some of the artwork in here is freaking beautiful, and then some of it looks like my little cousin drew it.
Yeah.
Or it looks like magazine.
It is, and there's some artwork in there that I'm just like, that's awesome, and then the other work I'm like, really, you kind of gave the orc leader a dir look.
Call him dir.
But I don't know. I like some of the artwork in here. Some of the artwork I could leave, but I would take my scalpel to this adventure. I mean, for anybody who wants some characterized and invented and created orc leaders, orc shamans. There's some good stats in here for a nice sizable orc. If you had them in your campaign, you could just pull right out of here. If you have dragons in your area or in your campaign that you want to give personality to, you could just take Glimmerfang or Forge out of this book and just use them in your own world. Mm-hmm. The adventure works on as a whole. It's got a lot of good ideas in it. I like it a lot. I'll give it a 3.5, just simply because it's a good book. A lot of resources to use, plus half the artwork is pretty good.
Would you run it as is?
I'd run it as is. If somebody was like, "Yeah, we got a night or two to do. We want to mess around and run a quick one," I'd run this. This isn't bad. At least it doesn't have any singing fungus. This one's
Take that, Glenn.
All my dragons forever now eat and hunt Campestry. That's how it works.
It's a delicacy for them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, let me tell you. I looked that over. If you ever watched Duck Dynasty,
yes,
their Uncle Si.
You are Uncle Si. Man. You are the Uncle Si of THACO's Hammer.
No, I'm not. No, that is Old Man Catan. That's Uncle Si right there.
Yes, it is. It is definitely.
Nunchuck. You hit somebody with that hand, it gets numb. That's why I call it numb chucks.
Yeah.
My take on this, I resisted the urge to say railroad because I don't really think it's a railroad. It's not a railroad, really. But it's one of those, pay attention to the level of the characters.
Yes.
Be a somewhat seasoned DM. I'm not saying you have to have 30 years in it, but at least have a couple of, campaigns under your belt.
Yep, I agree.
Because a novice will just like, doot, here we go.
Yeah. Then they get to the final battle, and it's like, all right, now what do you do?
Right, and I would, and I think that that's not to this module's credit. That is not using it to its fullest potential.
Right.
I agree.
Any seasoned GM worth his salt can avoid that railroad.
I agree.
And and I love the fact that the word "if" is used a lot in here. If the players do this, if the orcs do that, if the players don't do this, if, it gives you choices, it gives them choice. And it's not one of those, well, if they don't do this, the whole adventure's, screwed.
Falls apart, yeah.
I mean, there's a couple of spots where they say, well, if they don't do this, the adventure's over. But it's a logical place. That only happens like twice in there. Mm-hmm. And any PCs I know would never, wouldn't do that. Unless they're really trying to screw over the DM. But those are few and far between. But I give it like 4. 4 stars. How about you, Brian?
I'll give it 4.5.
Okay.
It's one of these where there's plenty of fighting, there's plenty of role playing, and there's plenty of situations where the party has to actually think.
Yes.
They just can't.
I agree.
They just can't draw down at the end and just try to take everybody out. I don't see, unless they've got like a couple of invokers, with plenty of wand backup and all that kind of crap and nonsense, I don't see it happening. But at the same time, it's just one of these things where, I'm even looking at the galley itself, it actually has a ballista that has a bolt of dragon slaying in it.
Yes.
Now imagine if the party got a hold of that and shot one of the dragons with it.
Yes.
I could just see a thief with an invisibility spell just creeping along, and all the soldiers are watching everything on shore with bows drawn, with bows strung, I should say, waiting for the first sign of treachery, and the next thing you know, the thief just,
lets the ballista go.
Yep, lets the ballista go, shoots one of the dragons, and the dragon dies. All he's got to do.
And you know what? They're a mated pair.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so great.
Yes.
You killed my wife, you bastards! Boom.
You killed my mate. You will all die. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So.
This is a powder keg waiting for a fuse to be lit.
Exactly. And it's in the party's and that region's best interest to make sure that powder keg goes boom.
Exactly. So what would you give it?
I'll give it 4.5.
4.5?
I'll give it 4.5. Yeah, it's a good enough adventure. I mean, I understand what Corey's talking about with the art, but I do kind of like the maps that kind of show the setups of like the ambush and the final confrontation and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I do enjoy that kind of thing. I wish more people did that.
I didn't know we went up to 5. I thought we only went up to 4. Then I'm changing my number. Then I'll give it a 4.
Okay.
I'll give it a 4.
Okay. Also, when I was talking about a worry about like railroad for a novice GM, the one thing that really stuck out to me that I worry about was Steelheart. A novice DM would make her too much of a Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, I agree. But the thing is that I think the author had the foresight not to make her anything more than a juvenile dragon who can easily die along the way.
I mean, there's 1 or 2 points in a fight where she takes out the ogre mage, the orc mage.
Yes.
She turns into a dragon out of sight and just like breathes on him and kills him. And then
I wouldn't do that. Yeah, I agree. That's
that was a novice GM. He would not stop there.
Yeah, I agree. To almost where she's doing all the party's work for them.
Right.
And I would. I could see a novice.
I think the author tried to compensate for that. For when they always ask her, and she's going, "You're the heroes. What are we going to do?" Because she doesn't think like that because she's young.
Yeah, she's the equivalent of a 12-year-old girl. Exactly.
And the nice thing about it is, you got a dragon on your side, but there's 1, 2, 3. At least 5 dragons that are a lot older than her.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, yeah, we got a cannon, but they've got like 5 tanks.
Exactly.
You know?
yeah, we've got an RPG. They've got 5 Abrams tanks over there.
Exactly.
Let's think about this.
Yes. So yeah, it is a really, really good. I'm going to change it to 4.5 too.
Okay.
4.5 because I want to leave a little wiggle room there. I don't want.
Great, I'm the Russian judge in this. I see how it is.
What should I?
That comes out to 4 1/3. All told.
There you go.
So we all give the thumbs up.
Yeah. Steelheart Dungeon Magazine number 53. Check it out. If you want to tell us about it at THACOshammer@gmail.com, we wouldn't mind hearing you about it. So there you go.
Great.
All right, it looks like we're gonna close in the splat book here.
Yep.
Sure are.
We're gonna close it up and close up shop and on to the next.
On to the next one, and we will try to get this out in time. I hope. Say goodbye, Brian.
Until next time, folks, remember, watch out for 13-year-old girl or 12-year-old girls bearing swords and daggers.
Okay, Corey?
Wear your plate mail and cover up your conjugations.
And for you with the
later, folks, we'll see you next week.
And for you with the magical cojones out there, this is DM Glenn saying we'll catch you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer. Bye-bye.
See ya.
These dragons got me nuts. Yeah, you're right about all those names.
THACO's Hammer theme is provided by the Diablo Swing Orchestra. You'll find them on Jamendo.com. All other additional music for this episode was provided by Kevin MacLeod. You'll find more of his music on Incompetech.com. Be sure to visit our website at THACOshammer.info. If you have any questions or comments, email us at THACOshammer@gmail.com. Remember, that's an O, not a 0. You can also find us on the second edition forums at osrgaming.org and at purpleworm.org. Or give us a call and leave us a voicemail at 405-806-0555. See you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer.